गालिब ने कभी कहा था, मुश्किलें हम पर पड़ी इतनी कि आसान हो गई। मुश्किलें, दर्द, रंज हमारी जिंदगी का अहम हिस्सा है, क्योंकि जिस तरह रात के बगैर दिन का एहसास ना हो, उस तरह गम के बगैर खुशी का एहसास ना हो। गम में मुब्तला होते तो हम सब हैं, लेकिन गमों से उभरने का तरीका हम सब का मुख्तलिफ होता है। कोई रोकर गम जाहिर करता है, कोई शायरी करके, कोई तबीयत पर लेकर, तो कोई दीवारों से टकरा कर। बहुत से लोग इस दुनिया में जब किसी दिली तकलीफ से गुजरते हैं तो खुद को जानबूझकर अजियत देना शुरू कर देते हैं। खुद को अजियत देकर अपनी जिंदगी को सुन्न कर देने की कोशिश करते हैं, या फिर खुद को सजा देकर किसी जुर्म से छुटकारा पाने की कोशिश करते हैं। और कभी सिर्फ किसी अपने की कोई बात इस कदर दिल को चुभी होती है कि दिल करता है काश इससे ज्यादा दर्दनाक कुछ और हो जाए। आज से 11 साल पहले जिंदगी के किसी अजब मकाम पर मैंने भी किसी और के किए की सजा खुद को दी, जब किसी से भी गम का इजहार करना ज्यादा मुश्किल पेश आया। आज 1 मार्च 2017 को मैंने फैसला किया, अपनी कलाई पर बने निशानों को छुपाने के बजाय दुनिया को बताना जरूरी है कि गम की अगर वो इंतहा कभी हो जाए कि खुद को अजियत देने का ख्याल आए, तो जान लो तुम अकेले नहीं हो।
Sprinkling a little bit. The weather isn't the perfect one, but today I'm going to Radio Cardiff to talk about self-injury awareness, and I will be recording over there, so catch you from there. Bye-bye.
Right then, I've had a kerfuffle because I couldn't get. I've got a bit of a dodgy headphones connection, but I can hear myself now, so I'm happy. Shahla Khan, welcome back to the radio station.
Thank you, Samantha. Thank you so much. Great to be here.
It's a great pleasure to have you back. It's been a couple of years, and it's very lovely to see you again. So, why have you come to Radio Cardiff today, besides saying hi to me and happy birthday?
Oh yes, I have to officially say happy birthday, Samantha, on radio. And the second reason I'm here is to talk about the self-injury or self-harm awareness day, which is celebrated on the 1st of March worldwide for the last 17 years.
So, what is self-harm, self-injury? Describe what it is to me, please, and the listeners.
Definitely. Self-harm or self-injury is basically what the words say, literally harming yourself. But what people don't get normally is that our human brain has been evolved to have a fight or flight response to any pain or danger. Why would someone deliberately harm themselves when the brain's normal response to any harm in general is to run away from it, right?
Yeah.
So this particular thing, which is self-harm, is basically a coping mechanism. So when a person has some difficulties in life, going through a rough patch or going through some kind of, well, there could be many reasons, bullying, sexual abuse, family arguments, anything, when they have a hard time, what they do is they self-harm as a coping mechanism. Because what happens is when you self-harm, you feel in control. You feel there's a release of your anger, you are venting your feelings. And when there is no other way, people find it difficult to channelize their anger or guilt in some other way. So they go back to self-harm. This is what basically self-harm is. There's such a big taboo about this particular subject. People don't want to speak about it. People are hiding their own self-harm stories. And the taboo really does a lot of harm in general, because then the victims, or rather say the sufferers, never come out.
So, what in general? So, what age groups of people are harming themselves, and also, Is it more common in different places than other?
Well, the bad news is, in the UK, we have the highest rates of self-harm of any other country in Europe, with estimates for about 400 and 100,000. And this is the statistics from
That's
the
tragic.
Mental Health Org. Yes,
That's tragic.
that's tragic. And other statistics would say that around 13% of young people, it starts basically when you're younger, which is between 11 to 16. And the numbers obviously increase when you grow up. But these are the numbers that the hospitals, the A&E have, but the actual numbers are suspected to be way higher. Because one of the things is that women's cases come forward as a lot more, but the way men vent out their anger is punching through walls, and that certainly sometimes does not come in the attention of the hospitals in any.
Even though it is harmful behaviour, yeah.
It is the same pattern, the same thing, the intention of the person is the same.
So in what kind of ways do people unfortunately hurt themselves? What do they do? Is it just cutting and scratching, or is it lots of other kind of harming ways?
There are actually about 10 to 15 different ways. So quickly I'll tell you about the few that are most common. So what you see in movies is the cutting one, which is the most common. People would think is 1 in 3 self-harmers are actually cutters. You take a blade or sharp object and you cut yourself. The other is scratching or pinching, which is deliberately digging into your skin, and this is more common in people who would hate their appearance for some reason.
Okay.
Then there's impact with other objects.
Okay, hitting yourself with stuff. Oh dear.
Yes, punching, kicking, that kind of thing. Then is carving, which is different from cutting because here you are carving symbols or names or something within your skin. So it coincides with cutting, but it's a lot more, specific.
Yeah.
Then healing with the, interfering with the healing process, which means if you're already sick or you have some kind of injury, you are deliberately stopping that from healing by picking or, not taking your medication. And
I see. Oh, so it can be quite a broad umbrella of behaviours then.
Definitely, yes. The other involve hair pulling, burning. Food is a very important one. Overeating or not eating, so bulimia, anorexia, these fall under.
I had no idea that fell under self-harm.
It does, because it's the same thing. You are harming yourself deliberately, knowing that this is bad for you, but you're doing it because you have those self-doubts or criticism of people around you about your appearance, how you look, and those kind of things.
What about somebody who has maybe had addiction issues? Is that sort of self-harm if they are aware that they're making themselves ill, say they got like liver disease, they carry on drinking, would that be self-harm as well? I suppose it is, yeah.
Yes, definitely. Apart from the food, the other two controversial things are sex and alcohol.
Right.
Okay, because the addictions to these things are often known as, it's just an addiction. But when people get addicted to these things, the causes are they are trying to numb their pain, they're trying to run away from something, escape, or they're simply so bored, they're demotivated to do anything good with their life, and then they move on to something.
Okay, so are there is there lots of help available? How is the support services for people that self-harm out there?
That is a great news that there is a lot of help available, basically. First of all, the Samaritan's number that you can reach, 116123, anytime, any day. That's the first thing, the instant help that you can get.
Right.
Then there are websites like the Childline, the selfharm.co.uk, Young Minds. Or if you're into apps, you would like to have a connection through an app, there is an app called stem4.org.uk/calmharm.
Because I suppose it's quite important for someone to be there when they're having a crisis. Definitely. To stop them from hurting themselves.
Definitely. But the thing is, it doesn't happen like that. You see, if there was someone, why would someone harm themselves in the first place?
Yes. So, what do you think the people who are harmed, what do they need? Is it counselling and support? Is that what they need to stop this harmful behaviour?
Definitely, but it's professional support.
Yeah.
Because one of the reasons why a self-harmer would never come out and say that this is what they're doing with themselves is because of the judgment. Whether it is from the closest of friends, from family, from teachers, anyone who would see something like this, the first reaction is hypercritical, which says, are you crazy? So people are so scared of being called crazy that they hide
won't
it.
admit to it.
They wouldn't.
So do people tend to hide it under clothes and things? Is that a sign to look out for? So if people have concerns about it, about their friend or maybe their child or maybe the teachers, what signs should you look out for if you have concerns for someone harming themselves?
Definitely. One of the things is they would be wearing long sleeves all the time. The other thing would be they would be withdrawn. Their mood would be upset and they would be despaired all the time, constantly. And if you try to talk to them, they would kind of be repulsive about it. They would just move away. And then obviously you can spot depression if you're living with someone constantly. So these are some of the things, the very little signs that you would notice in someone who might be self-harming.
And if you did think that, how would you approach that person? Is it best to approach them and challenge them about it, or say nothing? What should you do?
Well, it depends
It's
on...
private, isn't it? You know, it is
yes,
a private thing. Yes.
It is very private, and it would depend on your position or your role in their life. So, for instance, if you're a parent, you have the first responsibility to, speak with them, and they might be open to you. But if you are a friend or a neighbor or a teacher, then the position is a bit critical, and they may not even open up to you as much. So it depends on who the person is. And if you are a parent, then few of the things, if you have a doubt, it's not always good to challenge someone and then find out that they are just upset, and maybe you gave them the idea. To do something like this.
Yes. Is it sometimes put down as attention-seeking behaviour?
It is commonly known as an attention-seeking behavior, but it's not always that. Because it's not at all that, I would rather say. Because if it were, then the person would be doing it publicly, and
and they wouldn't be hiding it.
They wouldn't be hiding it. But if they are hiding it, that means they are just trying to feel in control in some way when they're alone.
Well, it's quite an important subject, and I'm very pleased you're here today to talk about self-harming. It is at 2:30, and we have to go into the news and the ads and pay the bills. But we'll be back after this short break. Thank you, Charla.
Thank you, Samantha.
Leicester begin life without Claudio Ranieri when they take on Liverpool.
I have published 7 books.
Wow!
Yeah, thank you. And I started writing for the Huffington Post. Thank you so much.
7 books?
Yeah, all non-fiction.
Yeah.
Around women's violence against women, basically.
Okay. Wow.
Thank you.
The sound of the capital city, Radio Cardiff.
That was the wonderful, wonderful Monique Bingham there. Production by Louis Vega from Mambo No. 5 fame. Yeah, he's wonderful. I just love that, and especially for TC, that one. Because he introduced me to the tune. So there you go. You get first dibs on it, didn't you? Liam has text back in, can I guess what supermarket that ends in A? Well, it's obviously not the one that ends in O. Thanks for texting in, Liam, and everyone today. Had quite a few, but yes, here is Charla Khan, and it's International Awareness of Self-Harm and Self-Injury Day today. Okay, so we'll be talking about the ways that people self-harm, and also the reasons why, and help available for them. So let's continue into what we can do to help people that are self-harming, and what directions what signposts we should give them when we have concerns for them.
Definitely, Samantha. So one of the first things that, as a parent, because you are spending most time with the child at home, one of the first things you can do is notice the pattern in their behavior. If they are constantly depressed for a longer period of time, that means you have something to worry about. They are upset about something, but you cannot obviously reach a conclusion that they might be self-harming. So few of the things to be on the lookout for is, first thing, lock away all the medicines. keep an eye on all the sharp objects around the house, whether it is knives or blades or anything that you think would be available for self-harming. Or if there are knives, make sure they are packed so far away that it would take time for them to reach there, and by the time they might have some thought, because sometimes it's also about the availability of the harmful objects around, whether it's tablets or pills or whatever.
Yeah.
So that could be it. And the thing is, when you finally do find out that your child is self-harming, instead of being constantly sad or hypercritical, you should rather be encouraging and supportive and seek professional help, instead of thinking that you can deal with it yourself. You can give them some lectures, because when even the nicest of words, when they come from our parents, sometimes we don't pick up on them, because we think that they're just saying that because they're a parent, it's their job to lecture us. So we may not pick up from that. But when a professional speaks to us with our best interests in mind, then things are a bit different. And of course, there's a whole lot of difference between a professional person who's been dealing with that and someone who's just doing it out of the goodwill of their hearts.
Is there enough understanding in the medical services about self-harm and how to treat it, do you think, Charlotte? Do you think there's enough awareness in the GPs and the hospital? Are they aware enough of self-harming and the reasons behind it? And do they signpost people if someone ends up in hospital? I mean, people, I imagine, do end up hurting themselves quite badly and end up in hospital on occasion, yeah?
Definitely. So the statistics that 13% of the 11 to 16-year-olds are self-harming, that came from hospitals, which means obviously all the medical services are well aware of that. And for parents as well, if your child is self-harming and instead of being supportive or being there, you are struggling with a lot of anger, or you feel despair that you failed as a parent somehow, you can speak to your GP about that, and they'll be able to help you and guide you.
Yes, because I imagine you'd feel like you'd let your child down a lot if they weren't able to talk. So do you think quite often it's because they can't articulate their feelings, and that's why they end up doing that?
Yes, articulating the feelings is one reason, and I could rather say that the reason behind the failure of articulating of those feelings is the judgment, because a lot of the friend circle that the kids and teenagers hang out around, or the grown-ups who are around them, there's so much judgment in our society that the minute you mention something, you crazy, it's a taboo. Any mental illness or disorder, I don't know if you can hear me very well because there's a lot of cars passing by, but I just came out of the radio center and quickly I wanted to talk to you about my experience. I had an awesome day. It was Samantha's birthday, so that was cool. The other thing about self-awareness that I'm not too sure that I emphasized too much on was the fact that we judge people when we hear some kind of mental disorder. Self-awareness is only a mental disorder. It's not something that you could say, some person is crazy. It's a mental disorder. And if people get enough love in their lives, and if they have enough people who they can be honest about, who know that they would hear them without judging them, that's the most important thing. And if you know that there are enough people in your life who can hear you without judging you, then you would never have to cope with something like that. Now, with me, self-injury is something really personal because 10, 12 years ago, that was something that I indulged in. And it was a self-healing journey because I never got professional help. In fact, I never even knew that there's something called a Self-Injury Awareness Day, or there was even help available for that. So I'm lucky that I, spent 10 to 15 years, but I did get the help that I needed, but many people don't. So to raise awareness, all I can say is if you hear someone who's coping badly with stress, who's depressed for whatever reason, and if you think you can help them by just listening, don't do anything, don't give them any money, if you can, of course, that's great, but you don't think that you have to fix everyone's lives per se. You can do whatever you want in your little way. But the most important thing that we all can do, you don't need to be an expert in that, is just listen. Have a concerned ear. Try to be supportive in whatever way without being judgmental, and that's all. And I am waiting for my taxi, which is going to be here in a while, so I'll take your leave and catch you in my next vlog. I love you all so much. Thank you. Bye bye.